Hi guys, welcome to Triple Crown Detailing. This is going to be my first big YouTube video. Today we're going to be correcting a Chevy Tahoe. We're going to do rotary, DA, and then a polish on it. So I'm going to have this car for about 3 days. I don't do this stuff quickly, and it's not because I can't, it's because I don't want to. I do a much better job going slow, going through everything, rather than trying to rush the process. As you can tell, the paint's not the best on it. We're gonna go through, do a full decontamination with a clay bar, iron decon, where we're gonna really get into the fender wells. They're carpeted, but we can make them look amazing. We're gonna hit these wheels, tires, use an iron decon on those, polish them out just a hair. They are clear coated, which you have to be careful with. Alrighty, so the Tahoe is washed. Beautiful, lovely. I didn't record me washing it because one, I was running around the vehicle. I got some of it, but nothing too intense. Now that it's washed, we're gonna dry it, and then after we dry it, we're gonna clay bar it. I'll show that process. It's a nice low and slow type of thing. You don't want to rush clay barring. Clay barring removes the contaminants in the clear coat. It's more of a prep step for me. I don't sell it individually just because when you're clay barring, you may mar the paint, especially on black Chevy paint. I use clay barring mainly for the purpose that it doesn't lodge the contaminants in my pad, because if you get contaminants in your pad, as you're buffing with the DA, it's doing this type of motion. And if you have like a rock, piece of sand, any contaminants in there, it's gonna leave these little pigtails that go around, and it will ruin your finish. So for clay barring, I use a thing called FenLab Pure Rinseless. I don't use Quick Detailer. A lot of people are probably like, why don't you use Quick Detailer? It does the same thing, and it's a fraction of the price. So you'll see a lot of detailers clay bar while they foam. That doesn't work. I hate to say it. It looks cool, it seems efficient, but it truly doesn't work. So if you think of it, this rinseless, there's no suds to it. It's completely foamless, and that's what you want. If you have foam, what it's gonna do is interfere with the contact to the paint itself. So let's say clay bar, foam, and then your panel. and you're just gliding on the foam, so it doesn't really get into it. Quick detailer's fine. I don't like using it because a lot of it has wax or carnauba or ceramic built into it, and I want to completely strip the surface so it doesn't gum up my pad. So rinseless is the best thing to use for me. Clay barring is quite easy. It's just very time consuming depending on how bad the panel is. So you just mist on the rinseless. I like to spray the bar just a little bit. I don't like to use mitts because they make clay mitts and stuff like that, just because with these contours and stuff, you sort of have to put more pressure. When you use a clay bar, it forms to the panel itself. So you just go back and forth. You can keep doing this on the whole panel. What this is going to do is lift any contaminants that are baked into the clear coat itself. While I was doing my wash, I was using an iron decon, and what that iron decon does is gets all the iron particles in the clear coat so it doesn't gum up my clay bar even more. So I'm just going to go through, do all of this. You don't want the clay bar to run dry. If the clay bar runs dry, then it's going to leave marring. And you just go until the surface is smooth. Once the surface is smooth, you can move on to the next spot. Once your clay bar gets contaminants in it like this, and what you're going to want to do is just fold it over, press it down, and then you're on to the next side and you have a clean side. You keep doing that until the clay bar is completely dirty, and then you gotta throw it away. There's no way of cleaning it out. So, little fun fact, this stuff right here, see if we can get it. See how it's just a little hazed over? This is actually called paint transfer. So what paint transfer is, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's transfer of paint from a different object onto your clear or paint or single stage, whatever you have. So, for this, all you have to do is now this isn't going to remove whatever scratches underneath, but it's going to remove the paint on top so you can buff it out easier. So if you hit one of those plastic guards that are like in front of Walmart or something like that, a lot of time you can get paint transfer. Same with if you hit a car or you just brush up against it. A lot of time when you brush up against it, you can get it out. If you full on hit it and it causes like deep scratches, you're not going to be able to get that out without buffing. Most of the time. So now that the vehicle is clay barred, what you want so now that the vehicle is clay barred, next thing you are going to want to do is use a surface prep. What this is, it's an alcohol-based prep spray. You spray it on the surface, wipe it off. I like to use 2 rags, one wet, one dry, buff it off. I'll just remove any oils, residue, anything like that. And then after I'm done doing that, I'll measure the paint, see how much paint I'm working with. Plot twist, I already did that. It's about 5, but I'll for you guys. And then I like to start with the test. Why do the whole vehicle if you can't get the best results? So I like to do a couple of different test spots with a couple of different compounds, pads, rotary, DA, see what works the best. If you don't, maybe you don't get the best result. Usually my go-to is wool pad with rotary with a cutting compound, and then DA microfiber pad with a cutting compound at 21 mil throw. And I use a 5-inch backing plate and then cut my microfiber pads to size just because I don't like the floppiness. Also, you can get a lot closer to mirrors and other things without hitting them with the pad. And then I will follow through with a 21 throw super soft finishing pad that I run at speed 6, which is controversial. But then I also use an ultra fine polish. It keeps the heat down, and with running it at 6, it actually compresses and loosens the fiber of that pad, so you get an even better finish. Grab the spray. You don't need a whole lot, just spray it on. I like to let it sit, sort of eat the oils away, and then I'll go through wet, dry. When I use the wet rag, I like to use the one with fluffy side out, tall nap, high nap, whatever. And then after that, I'll finish with the short nap, easier buffing, and you get less streaks. So I leave it for about 30 seconds. Go in. I'm not pushing very hard at all, just making sure it gets everywhere and picks up whatever I need it to pick up. Just like that, you have a prep panel. So this is my rotary tool. I just use the Harbor Freight one. You know why? They all spin. That's all rotary does, is spin. You don't need ample power. You shouldn't be pushing that hard with rotary. These are my brand new pads. They are coarse wool pads, big fluffy sides, has a little bit of overreach. When you're using rotary, you're only gonna use a side. You don't use it flat. With rotary, you wanna use the edge. Zeus! Zeus! They're across the street! They're all the way across the street! No, don't you even dare! So with rotary, you wanna use the cutting edge. That's usually gonna be the right side depending on the rotation of the rotary. The reason why you wanna do that, if you use the left side, it digs into it, or the non-cutting side, it actually digs into it too much and you'll have these really nasty holograms. Using the cutting side, you can sort of just glide on the surface that you'll see in a minute. It helps to remove those defects while leaving you able to glide, get in those cracks, get in the surface dips and all that. So today I'm gonna use Classic Cut from Shine Supply on the rotary, do my first test spot. First you wanna prep the pad. To prep the pad, this is a brand new pad. Go around, a little circle. You don't want to put too much or it'll fling, but you wanna really make sure you get these edges. So after I put it on, I'll sort of just rub it around, make sure I'm coating every surface. And then wherever I see a spot that isn't covered, I'll just add a line more, a dot more. This pad is like some shag carpet. This is some really thick paddage, or woolage. So, here we go. And I know I said I don't do it flat, but to properly prime the pad, I like to start flat at the lowest speed, go back and forth just so it completely covers the surface of the rotary. So we're gonna start at 600 RPM. And just really prime that pad. So you can see there's a dip here. Using the rotary is really gonna help with cutting the defects out of that dip. So after you prime it, I like to bump it up to about 1400. The reason why I'm using Classic Cut rather than something like Chop Top is that black GM paint's really soft and you're gonna cut no matter what. Downside of rotary is once it starts getting a little dry, since you're only using one edge, not completely flat, it's gonna fling some dust absolutely everywhere. One thing I didn't do, if you caught it, I didn't measure the paint. So we're gonna go ahead and measure the paint, not where I did. Well, actually, we'll do it where we did too, because one misconception with rotary is that it takes a lot of material off, but it really doesn't. Also, people say it runs hot, but also it doesn't. Running a wool pad really helps with the heat because it has a lot of air inside the pad. That's sort of why it dries out faster, but also you run a lot cooler and you can still cut a ton. So a paint depth gauge is very important for doing anything paint correction wise. You want to know how much paint and how much clear you still have left to play with. So it's really easy to use. For this one, it has to be a metal surface. So you just put it on and you take it off. So this is reading 5.1 on the top. The safe paint depth that you want to mess with is down to 3. This is in microns, this isn't millimeters. If we get a little scale out, a micron is smaller than your hair in thickness. Safe is 3, down to 3. Anything above that, go ham on it. It can handle some sanding, rotary, all that fun stuff. One thing that might throw you off is if there's Bondo under the paint, it will read the Bondo. If it's been repainted, it's not gonna read the different levels. It's not gonna read, okay, this is the first layer of paint and then clear and then the next layer and clear. So you gotta be really careful and just gauge what you're looking at. And it all comes with experience and time. All right guys, day 2 on the Tahoe. Me being dumb, I did some test spots and rotary cut, DA, microfiber mid-step, and then a ultra fine polish on it because it's black GM paint. Just look at the difference there. So it's gonna come out pretty good. Little side view. There's all that. And we'll get a light on it so you guys can see it under light. Under light, it's even more dramatic. So I'm pretty excited about the result. Black GM paint is some of the hardest paint to work on. Super soft, super temperamental, but we got it dialed. I'm excited to do it. Let's get hammering. Before we do any of that, we have to get the bagger out of here and the hardtail, which I will do videos on later. So for paint correction, it's always good to start top down, roof and hood first. Reason for that is if you come over the side panel and you're trying to do the hood, let's say you did the fender already and you're trying to do the hood, you have to lean over that panel. And may not, but it might scratch it, depending on what shirt you're wearing. But it's always just a good rule of thumb. You can wear an apron, but they still scratch. Any abrasion's gonna scratch, especially super soft paint. Or roof, hood, whatever, and then work your way down. So since the defects are so bad on this hood, I'm going to use this diamond cut compound from Meguiar's. There we go. First time using it actually, and I did the test spot last night. Came out really good. Also using a brand new pad that I got. This is actually from Sparta, or Sparta, whatever, on Amazon. It's a very coarse, open wool pad with a nice backing plate. It's not too thick, but I don't like super foamy backing plates. They keep heat a lot more. Sure, you can contour around curves a lot more. Start cutting on the back first. Work our way this way, work our way that way, work our way this way, just because that's the hardest spot to reach, so we'll start there. And then we'll do the roof, then we'll do the back, and we'll go from there. Who's calling me? I don't want to be answering calls right now. Ah. Well, hello, Scott.
Hey, Jay. There he is.
That is I. Oh, man. What a week. So there's a secret weapon I haven't showed you guys yet. With paint correction, lighting is everything. My hex lights and all these fancy lights, sure they look cool, but they suck for correction. They don't expose the scratches like different temperatures of light do. I was showing you guys on the hood and I was using this light. This is a detail light. This is from Harbor Freight. They do make scan grips that cost 300 bucks. This is 40 bucks and it does just about the same thing. So, and it was gifted to me, so of course I'm gonna use it. How fancy the light is doesn't matter. All that matters is the right temperature. So I'll show you guys with this and then I'll show you with my big boys. The big boys, 4 lights on a tripod, cost me around 300 bucks to make. I just had to buy the buckets, the LEDs, and then the stand itself. It exposes everything. I have found hair in people's repaints. I have found everything with that. I will see every little micro marring, anything. This is extremely important for the finishing step. Reason for that is you can't see the scratch, you can't finish it out. Microfiber pads like to leave micro marring. It's these little baby hazes that you can't really see with the human eye under normal lighting. Even with this thing, you have to get the right distance from the paint. That also matters. Angle matters. You want it at an angle so it goes into the scratches and shows them, rather than straight on, it sort of floods out the light. So without a light on it, the paint looks pretty darn good. You can get a nice reflection off of it, all that fun stuff. But if you get a light on it, you start to see the defects. If I turn all these lights off and then show you guys again with just the other light, you'll see more scratches. So with all the lights off, you can see a lot more scratches develop. The closer I get, more it drowns it out. So I like to stay 3 feet away from where I'm looking. You can see all of these defects now. So before I turn them on, I'll show them off to you. This is the lighting setup. This is my correction setup. It's big, it's cumbersome, it's heavy, but it works so well. So if I turn these on for you, you can just see how bright they are. These are my pride and joy, and I actually learned this from a different detailer, Shine Doctor. I highly suggest you follow him on Instagram. He will show you some of the best work. But if I turn everything off, now we're able to see a lot more. We're able to see everything. Absolutely everything. If I get this light on, you can see it's a little bit lighter of a hue, lighter of a temperature compared to this. It does show a lot, but it doesn't show as much. So if I drop these down and angle them a little better, you'll be able to see even more. So with my big lights on it, you can really see how destroyed this paint is. It's rather messed up. It's got every type of defect you could think on it, and it's gonna be an absolute heyday to get this good. All right, we're on day 3. All the rotary cut is done. Time to move on to DA with a microfiber pad. I'm using a 21 mil throw on a 5-inch backing plate with Meguiar's cutting microfiber pads, cut to size, so there's no overhang. Compound I'm using is a 2-in-1 mixed with 105 Meguiar's. The thing with microfiber pads is that they hold a heck ton of heat, especially when you have those bigger, thicker ones. So this is what I mean by the backing plate difference. You can see how much thicker this one is. This one, the cutting one, also has a more open foam design than the polishing one. The good thing with this is it contours around the edges a little bit better. So coming around here, it's gonna fill that little gap, versus this one is gonna chop over it or stall depending on what happens. So this is good for slow moving, speeds 2, 3. I wouldn't go over 4. Last time I went up to 4 on this, it started getting really warm and it melts up, heats up your backing plate, and then you lose your hook and loop and it'll actually fling off. I try to avoid using this one. This you can get hot as heck and it doesn't care, which is lovely. Obviously you can still roast it, but it holds heat a lot less. Main differences, after I'm done using this, I'm gonna use a foam pad from, I think it's Lake Country. We'll do that, and then prep it, and then coat it, and get out of here. All right, fellows and fellettes, wasn't able to record most of that because I was hammering. I have to get this done. There is a timeline, so I apologize for that. But second cut is done. The roof came out, or the hood came out way better than I thought it would. So that's exciting. There is still some oxidation marks in it, but the only way to get that out is repaint. Moving on to our final polish. So show you guys the pad, polish combination, and what polisher I'm using, and we'll get a pretty darn good finish. So for the pad I'm using, it's a Lake Country Ultra Finish pad. It's normally not red, but I did a single stage vehicle, so it turned the pad a little red. It's not gonna affect the finish at all. It just turns it red. And then we're using Classic Finish Plus for the polishing, and then we're gonna be using 21 throw on 5-inch pad, or 5-inch backing plate. I'll record what I can. Really need to get this done, so I apologize, but if anyone wants further explanation on paint correction, such as cutting, what pads to use, actually it's all up to you what pads to use, but techniques, why I use what I use, who I'm doing, what I'm buying, just let me know, and I will go over all of my equipment, all of my different pads, what the pads are used for, polishes, compounds, sanding, all that fun stuff, difficult paint, easy paint, what cars have the worst paint, what car brands have the worst paint. Toyota, my bad. So yeah, let me know, comments below, because YouTube, this is weird, I feel like a YouTuber. Like and subscribe, don't forget to like, follow, and share, smash that like. Shut up, dude. We know. We'll like the video if you like it. Jeez. Can we not? Hey! Zeus! Hey! Shut up! This is where my big fancy lights are gonna really come in handy. Cutting, you can see a lot of the defects. Second cut, you can still see a lot of the defects and holograms that rotary uses. Polishing, you need to be able to see everything. All of my fancy lights are getting turned off. Only big guys. Also, be sure to clean the glasses. This can mess with that. Just a quick tip with me. My preference, before I get polishing, I like to clean the entire shop. Sort of gets my brain in the mood. It means, hey, we're doing this pretty. I swear if you bark, I'm not a very neat person, as you can tell. Cleaning the shop really helps me just level my brain, you know, ground zero, here we go, time to do good work. If you're having problems, you know, starting the polish or getting burned out, tired, you've been working on the car for however long, this is my 3rd day on it, it really helps starting from scratch. Get a drink of water, stay hydrated, eat a little snack, whatever. Wishy-wash? Alright, so as you can tell, I am thoroughly beat, but the vehicle is all polished up. Final step is done, so I gotta go around, wipe all the polish off, prep the whole thing, do windows. I have clean and shine sitting on the tires right now, so they're darkening up. I don't like physical shiny tires, so happy that. We're probably gonna use clutch from Shine Supply to coat it. So the longer that sits, the better. Half tempted to leave it overnight, but I don't know when the people are picking up in the morning, so Not sure about that, but clutch can also be used on plastics and rubbers to rehydrate them and make them look beautiful once more. So, here we go. Next step is to apply clutch. So, the way I do it, I use a little circular mitt, a couple spritz on it, and then sort of just like a ceramic coat, go on little overlapping wipes going down the whole vehicle. So, that's that. And then the longer you wait on it to cure, the longer it'll last. So usually give it about 20-30 minutes, but I might just go home and let it cure overnight. We'll see. With clutch, it leaves this sort of film type of residue on it. It's okay, the streaking's normal. My only gripe with clutch is it takes a lot to wipe off. Sitting there wiping and wiping. But other than that, it is an excellent product that I have yet to find something that boosts the depth of gloss as much as clutch. That's why I like to use it on black cars. It looks good already. It's gonna look even better when it's done and level. All right, day 4. They're picking up at 10:30. It is currently 8 o'clock right now. So, gonna level it. Going to do the windows, do a sun check, take some pretty pictures and fancy video for you guys. Last day, then it's out of here. It is currently Saturday morning. Showed up at 8. So I'm a freaking maniac. So for this video, it's mainly just showing the process of what I do and how I do it. If you guys have any questions and want further explanation on anything, I can make a video on it. Give me some direction of what I'm doing. Whatever helps you guys. That's why I'm doing it. I'm not here to make money. I'm not here to whatever. I just got a bunch of requests to make a YouTube channel, so here we are. Baby steps. Alright, let's go. If you guys do like the video, some indication that you do like it. It doesn't have to be a like, share, whatever. Just message me if anything and say, hey, good job. I like that. Same with critiques, whatever the word is. Let me know. Like, hey, I want to see more of this. Hey, you didn't do that right. Hey, this. Hey, that. Hey, you suck. Let me know. Hopefully I can not suck in the future. Do plan on making a lot more videos. I'll probably make less videos with client vehicles just because it's so hard to get this done in a timeline and make decent content. I'm on a huge time crunch. Thankfully we got this one done. But I will have my own vehicles, own motorcycles, whatever, for future videos when I'm doing more educational stuff. And I'll try to do more process videos in the future for different vehicles. As long as they're not super big jobs like a frickin' black GM, jeez. Have a good one. See you in the next one. How many times can I say 1, 2, we out?